history that we were all taught growing up is wrong. My name is Scott Wolter, and I'm a forensic geologist. There's a hidden history that nobody knows about. There are pyramids, chambers, tombs, inscriptions. They're all over the world. We're going to investigate these artifacts and sites, and we're going to get to the truth. Sometimes history isn't what we've been told. Because of my work, I get lots of calls from people who find unusual relics. A lot of times, they're easy to explain. But there's one that's bothered me. And for the last 2 years, I haven't been able to figure it out. Holy cow. All right, be honest. When you saw this, did you kind of lose your mind a bit?
I did. We were down there looking for dark points, fossils, things of that nature, and we run across this, and I couldn't believe what we were seeing. And being, a bit naive on the subject, at first I believed it was a bison, until we started getting some opinions back that no, that's it's definitely bovine. It's definitely some sort of cattle.
Okay. Nick Johnson and his brother stumbled on this incredible artifact. They had seen one of my lectures and called me up. The horns are very interesting. They're very prominent. They come up, they're symmetrical. So let's get this bad boy inside.
Okay.
All right. I had seen this symbol before, and I know the bull was used by ancient Egyptians in their rituals. But that was 3,000 years ago. It just doesn't make sense. So I examined it to see just how old the carvings were. You see this, probably some mineralization that's on the surface. It's actually in the grooves too. See, it's sort of transition and then it lightens up here. So what you can say is that the carving was done before this black material was deposited on the surface, if in fact that's what that is. Initially, I can tell you right now, this wasn't made recently. This shows some early signs of age. This looks like a mane of some kind, flowing down. For 2 years now, I've been studying this symbol, trying to get some answers. Bulls have been used as symbols by many groups. Native Americans here, the ancient Greeks over in Europe. But I really think that this carving could be an Apis bull, used extensively by only one civilization, the ancient Egyptians. Which leaves me with the question, how did it end up here? Nigel, I have something pretty special for you today. A guy named Nick Johnson, who lives down in Oklahoma near Tulsa, was walking along the Arkansas River, and he was looking for artifacts, and he found this large stone that has an interesting carving of a bull on it. And there are several people I've showed it to that think it might be Egyptian. Being an Egyptologist, were bulls popular in Egypt, or what can you tell me about Egypt and bulls?
Very popular.
Okay.
It's basically stood for, strength, validity. So we're talking 5,000 years ago.
Okay.
And it leads all the way right through to something you probably heard of called the Apis bull, which is where they have a whole cult to the bull.
I've heard of the Apis bull. It's a sacred Egyptian deity that symbolized the strength of the pharaoh. and was a protector of the dead. Well, I guess now's the time.
Yeah,
Are you
please.
ready?
Yeah, I've
You
come a
ready
long
to
way
take-
to see this, so let's have
Ready
a
to
look.
take a look?
Yeah.
All right, well, here we go.
Immediately, first reaction is that it does look like an apis bull from the top.
What are, yeah,
because-
tell me, what do you see that tells you that?
Well, of course, a bull's a bull ultimately, but the horns here like this, immediately when you first just look at it, that stands out. The apis bull, sometimes there's a ring through the nose, but that's later on. So yes, obviously it's a bull, which I agree with you on that, but this is very unusual. What do you think this is?
Well, some people have suggested that this is an adornment of some kind,
Right.
you know, something they put on the bull as part of a ritual.
Is this any good for dating then?
Well, it can be, but not knowing the history or the provenance of where this thing has been over time makes it very difficult for me. The one thing that I can say, and I'll show you in the picture right here, you can see the layers here, and the only way that's going to happen is if you have either lengthy or aggressive weathering. The question is, how old is that? Well, the honest answer is I don't know, because I don't know where this thing has been.
So therefore, the obvious thing to me that jumps out is then, why Egyptian? Why not Native American?
The Native Americans, especially in the Central Plains region, they would have revered the bison more than the bull. So, and that would look very different. It wouldn't have the high horns. And so I haven't seen anything like this in Native American art. Some archaeologists in the local area immediately dismissed it. What they assumed was that it was a modern creation, and it could be. The only thing that makes me pause is I see significant weathering of the grooves. Let's say a group of Egyptians that came over here to North America in this case, would it make sense for them to carve a bull?
No, they always leave the same inscriptions. They leave the name of a pharaoh in something called a cartouche, which is a rope which encircles the king's name, because he wanted people to know how important he was, how powerful he was, where he could go, that he had visited that place. Secondly, it's a hell of a long way. They don't like the sea. They're terrified of the sea, in fact. They don't want to go on it. So when they do want something, say from Syria, Israel, that kind of places, they always subcontracted. They got merchants to do it for them.
So what you're saying is, based on what you know about the Egyptians, this carving here in Oklahoma would not be consistent with the Egyptians?
No. And they would have made a bigger stamp about it. They would have made a bigger impression. There would have been other artifacts if they were here. You know, a lone traveler, possibly, but it's a long way to get lost, isn't it?
Well, at this point, I think we've determined a couple of things. That's definitely a bull. It may or may not be an apis bull. I have to go see the site where this came from. I want to get samples of this rock and compare it with some of the rock there to see, is this rock in Tulsa? I have some doubts that the bull carving is Egyptian in origin, but it does look old. A sample pulled from the same environment where this was found could help me figure out if it was carved in Oklahoma. My next stop is Tulsa. I want to know if this is ancient. And if it is, I want to know who made it and why. It's been almost 2 years since Nick Johnson came to me with a 500-pound stone carving of a bull. Bull symbols are found in ancient Egypt, but why would one be found in Oklahoma? I'm heading there to find out for myself.
Hey, Scott.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
The reason that we're here is we're trying to figure out, is this thing really old or not? I mean, is it weeks old, a few years, decades, hundreds, thousands of years old? And if it's thousands of years old, this is a big deal. Where did we find this thing?
Aaron spotted it first and said, hey, did you see this rock?
So you actually saw it first?
Yes, yes.
And
it was something I thought would, catch your eye immediately.
so walk over there to look at it, and here's this big bull carved on the rock. We didn't know what to make of that. You know, what is a big bull doing out in the middle of the river out here?
So, right out here past these rocks, so what is now in the water?
Yeah, probably about 20, 30 yards out past the water's edge. There's a hydroelectric dam upstream. They started letting water out probably 11 o'clock or so it started to fill up pretty fast.
So after you found this thing and you've got it safe, then what happened?
Well, I started taking pictures and emailing anybody I could find that might be able to tell me something about it, what it's doing out here, if anybody had ever seen it before, if anybody had any clue how old it could be, whether it was authentic, whether it was modern.
One of the issues that I have is we've got a flowing river here, and water is a rapid eroder. It makes rock break down very fast. So if it's sitting in a river that's going up and down and it's flooded, let me ask you this, would it have been underwater today where you found it?
Yes.
It would?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, Nick, that concerns me a little bit if the boulder was carved out there. In other words, if that boulder was sitting there and somebody carved it and we've had the water flowing over it, it could have made those grooves, you know, in that weathered appearance relatively quickly. Yeah. So that's a concern to me. What I'd like to do is grab a couple samples and eventually get them back to the lab and just compare it with this, you know, the rock that you have and see what turns out.
Okay.
I know that the bull carving is on a piece of sandstone, which is rock that has a number of unique physical and chemical characteristics that can help establish where it came from with reasonable certainty. If I can find the same rock type here today, it could help get to the bottom of where this carving came from.
Scott, what do you make of this?
This would be a great piece to take back to the lab to maybe do a little comparison with your carving. This is a good control sample. I think I have what I need.
There's a spot 5 miles downriver called Turkey Mountain, and there's supposed to be some other inscriptions and carvings along the cliff face that people have reported. You want to go down there and check that out?
Let's go.
Let's go.
All right.
Here. Should be probably about a quarter mile. We're gonna want to kind of keep our eyes in this direction. There should be a fairly tall cliff. Apparently it's pretty high up, anywhere from 15 to 30 foot up from the ground. So.
Okay. There's a cliff wall there.
Yeah, and there's a trail right here, so let's check in here. Might be back up in here just a little bit.
Does this feel right to you?
Should be about the right area, yeah.
All right.
Watch out for the snare here.
Okay.
It says bad dog right here.
Bad dog. Well, I don't think that's very old, but it's interesting they used a pecking technique.
I think we're in the right area.
What's that over there? Let's go take a look at that. There's stuff all the way along here. Wait a minute, what is that? Right there. No, that's modern graffiti.
There's supposed to be a face around here.
Face.
A human face.
Looks like there might be something up here.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
the face.
This looks like it's a head right here.
Is this a profile of a head?
This is a face.
All right. Which way is the face pointing?
This is the back of the head here.
All right.
Some sort of headgear or something with something protruding out of the front of the face. And you can see a nose here.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta be honest with you. I don't like this. I think this is modern. I think we should head down. Let's take a look at this over here, guys. These lines right here. This looks like it could be Ogham. Ogham is a really old written language that uses vertical lines. Irish Celts used it between the 4th and 10th century AD. There are more than 400 Ogham sites along northwestern England, Wales, and Ireland. A lot of academics, however, are skeptical about Ogham in North America.
Apparently there was a guy named Barry Fell from Harvard who said that this was Ogham and that it translated to G-W-N or Gwen.
Okay. Gwen. Well, Gwen, the name Gwen, if this says Gwen, one possibility is it could be the Celtic explorer Gwen. And the Celts, if they were here, certainly would have used Ogham. You know, as I look at this stuff, I keep thinking about that river that we've been, walking along all day today. And, these early explorers, if they were down in the Gulf of Mexico and they went up the Mississippi, the first large river to the west is the Arkansas River. And so that's the way they would have traveled. And this is literally right on the river, so it makes sense. You know, guys, I really like this. This looks good, and we've got a lot of other stuff here that we can use to compare, and I don't know if this connects with the bull. It might not. So we have a rock found in a river with a bull carving that could connect to ancient Egypt. And not too far away, we have a possible Celtic Ogham inscription carved on a cave wall. It seems like these clues are unrelated, so I need to figure out more about this ancient language and how it all fits together. And for that, I need to travel to Ireland. I'm here to try to figure out if the Irish Celts came to America long before Columbus. And I'm also here to try to find out if this Ogham script that we found in Oklahoma could possibly be evidence of their voyage to the New World.
If we could find an Ogham inscription in America, written in Irish, then we would have absolute proof that the Irish were living in America in the early medieval period.
Well, I tell you, the reason I'm here is we have, at least people say, an Ogham inscription in Oklahoma. And I want to try to learn more about it.
Ogham is an alphabetical script which is unique to Ireland and to places where the Irish settled. It was a fashionable way to record names of people in stone in the 5th to the 7th century.
Can you describe to me, what exactly does it look like?
It's made up of straight lines, and to the untrained eye, it looks like tally marks. But the lines are arranged in a very specific way, each set of lines representing a consonant or a vowel. We have a beautiful example here in the library of an inscription from County Kerry, and I'd be delighted to take you in and show it to you. This is about the standard size of an inscription of this kind, which date from the very birth of Irish Christianity.
So what does this inscription say?
This inscription records the name of the man who's buried here or whose property this is. We follow the vowel line up the center, and then the consonants are on either side. And it's important that they're on the proper side, because if they're on the wrong side, it'll mean nothing. This is the proof that this is an Irish Ogham inscription. You know you're reading in the right direction, and you know you've got an Ogham inscription. That's what you need to find in America.
Only the Irish Celts used Ogham script, not all Celtic people?
This particular alphabet is used only by Irish Celts and is found, as far as we know, unless you can prove otherwise, is found only in Ireland or in areas that were colonized by the Irish.
Do we know how far they traveled, and where do we find these?
We're reasonably certain that they got as far as Iceland. Did they go further to America? I don't know. You find the stone, you prove it.
Well, I tell you what, I have some pictures I'd like to show you on my computer, so maybe I do have an Ogham inscription. So, Damien, here we have what some people claim is a short inscription here. This is at a site called Turkey Mountain in Oklahoma. Not far away, there was a very beautiful Egyptian-style bull carving found. I don't know if they're associated with each other, but it wasn't far away. What do you see here?
I have to say, from what I can see, I see 5 or 6 lines, almost all of them vertical, and there simply isn't enough in that to be able to say this is an Ogham inscription. This bears a superficial resemblance to Ogham in that it has straight lines.
But let me ask you this. If we were able to find a legitimate early Irish inscription, we could say that that was evidence of early medieval Irish contact?
Correct, a legitimate Ogham inscription, absolutely. Provided it is legitimate, it works the Ogham way, and it is the Irish language that is on it, you have absolute proof that the Irish were there. And if there's one there, I certainly would like to see it. I'd encourage you to look. I believe that in Oklahoma, in the Anubis Caves, there are inscriptions which some people claim bear a resemblance to the Ogham. Why don't you check that one out?
Hey, Phil. Scott Wolter, how you doing? Thanks for meeting me out here.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm trying to understand how a 500-pound slab of rock with what looks like an ancient bull carving ended up in the Arkansas River just outside of Tulsa. Not far from that site where this bull carving was found, we also looked at some Ogham. And I understand you've got both Ogham and carvings that include a bull here. Is that true?
That's right, Scott. I think our carvings and inscriptions that we have here are probably the best example of old world Celtic explorers coming to the Americas long before Columbus, and I'd love to take you to the caves. I've been researching these caves, the caves we call the Anubis Caves, for over 30 years now.
Anubis is the jackal-headed Egyptian god of the dead. He was associated with mummification and protecting the dead as they journey to the underworld.
In the late 1970s, a local rancher brought another researcher here to these caves, and she recognized the figure Anubis on the cave wall, and that's hence the name, the Anubis Caves.
So you've got Celtic writing and evidence of religious practice of the Celts. You've got Egyptian symbolism and iconography consistent with them being here, a presence here. And you've also got a bull carving. This whole investigation I started began with a bull carving. I mean, if this is what it could be, this is a huge discovery.
I think it is. This is cave number 1.
Okay.
I want to show you over here cave number 2 and 3.
Okay.
This is cave 2, and you can see the markings
Oh, yeah.
right up on the wall from here.
Boy, they look great. Here we go. I got her. Wow. Well, these are amazing.
Now, here's some of the marks that I'd like to show you. Here's the bull, and you can see the ribs drawn in Celtic style and the horns.
I mean, that's clearly a beast. Looks like a bull to me. And these lines right here, this looks like it could be Ogham. So what does all this mean?
Well, this was put here 1,500 years ago by Celts who came here and made a monument to their god Mithras.
I only know a couple of things about Mithraism. It's an ancient religion practiced around 100 to 500 AD. Its god, Mithra, was also known as the sun god, and it also incorporated bull slaughter.
Mithraism, it was a secret, a mystery religion,
And this is a practice of the Celts?
and it was also a practice of the Celts. You come over here, you can see the rising and setting sun. And then we have the sun god with his rayed head and crown. And then we have the god Anubis with his white crown and the flail stuck in his back, just as he appears in Egypt.
Clearly Egyptian. And I do see some modern graffiti, obviously right here. Modern graffiti can be very helpful with dating. It gives us a comparison. I do see, some of these look like they've been aging for a while. What's your take on the age of these carvings?
Well, we have dated this to approximately 300 to 500 AD.
That's very possible.
That's quite old. There's a series of alignments here that only occur on the day of the equinox.
So you're talking about archaeoastronomy.
That's correct.
Well, that's a little something I know about. I mean, many cultures did this for thousands of years and aligned their buildings and structures to align with planets, moon, the heavenly bodies. And you're saying we have that here? What happens here?
It's just like going to the movies. We've often referred to it as the world's first motion picture. The shadow moves up across this panel into the setting sun. Tells a story of Mithraism. The Celts believed that in Mithraism and that their soul came down from the heavens and then returned back to the heavens and to their god Mithras.
So there's a shadow play here on the equinox, which happens only twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. And it's when both day and night are of roughly equal length. It was also a significant day for many early cultures. Just as it was summer turning into fall, it also represented the change from life into death. If this shadow play illuminates these symbols, then it clearly represents something fundamental with the spiritual beliefs of whomever carved this. So this is the cycle of life?
Yes, it's the cycle of life from beginning to end.
So Phil, what you've told me here and what I've seen is a very detailed, very complicated equinox alignment here that was made by explorers that came long before Columbus. I know it's not far from the equinox. We're coming up close. I would love to come back. This is an important site and it changes history.
We'd love to have you come back. Let's do it.
A guy named Nick Johnson down in Oklahoma found this in the Arkansas River. We don't know how old it is, however. I then talked to an Egyptian expert about the possibility that maybe this was an apis bull of the ancient Egyptian religion. And he basically said, yeah, I see some things that do look like it could be an apis bull. But then he said he saw some things that he didn't like, that weren't consistent with that. And then I went down to the Panhandle in Oklahoma, and I went to a site where I saw some Ogham. I saw another bull carving, and the whole discussion of possibly the Celts coming here and carving something based on the Mithraism religion.
We really know the Mithraic religion through symbols and images of its god, Mithra. He had a solar crown and was holding a sword or a large dagger and was sacrificing a bull. And here we have a bull. It flourished from about the 1st century to the 4th century AD. And practitioners, they believed their souls came from the stars.
What would they go through? I mean, what are some of the rituals? Do you know?
The Torabolium was an initiation where a pit was dug and boards were put over the top of the pit. You, as the initiate, would be brought in underneath this grating.
Okay.
And a bull would be taken over the pit and sacrificed where 50 liters of blood would pour over you. You physically got new life from this blood from the bull. Now, if that is not a visceral initiation, I don't know what is.
Well, if you're sitting in this pit and a bull is slaughtered above you and the blood is just draining out and covering, you would remember that. One of the things when I was talking to the Egyptian expert was he couldn't make heads or tails of this flowing lines here on the back. Could that be blood?
I think you're definitely on the right track there. You know, if you're looking at Mithraism, the bull symbolism was an extremely important symbol.
This bull seems to represent almost an amalgamation of two things. One, this Egyptian Apis bull religion and Mithraism. I mean, is it fair to say that one sort of evolved from the other?
Absolutely, without doubt. Mithraism actually was a reforming of the Apis religions of Egypt.
Now, this is all starting to make sense. If it wasn't the Egyptians who made the bull symbol, it was somebody who was influenced by the Egyptians. Right now, all signs point to the Celts. The site that I saw in the Panhandle, because of the presence of Ogham, they're thinking that the Celts were the ones that were responsible. If they were the ones that came over here, the question is why?
Christianity was around. People get chased out, and certainly it's a very strong possibility that the Celts were simply the Celtic Mithraic practitioners were chased out.
People will go to amazing lengths to find a place to practice their faith. And isn't that what North America really has evolved into? I mean, that's what the United States is. But the idea that people were coming here hundreds and thousands of years ago for the very same thing is really pretty incredible.
Well, I tell you, this is an absolutely extraordinary stone.
When I was down on the river, looking at the site where Nick told me he found this stone, one of the things I wanted to do is to see, did this rock come from that area in Tulsa? And it appears that it does. This is a piece of rock that I collected that is sandstone. It's virtually identical to this slab that the bull is carved in. You know, it answered the question for me. I believe that the bull was probably carved somewhere near where it was found. Maybe not exactly at that site on that island in the river, but somewhere nearby. It seems to me that really the most likely candidates, if this is indeed ancient, it has to be the ancient Celts. Joe, I've been invited back to the Anubis Cave on the Equinox to see this alignment that occurs at that time, and I want you to come with me.
I will be there.
Someone was in that cave thousands of years ago, and someone with an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy put those carvings there for a reason. If the cave illumination is anything like what I've been told, then we're in for something spectacular. It's really going to be, I'm sure, an amazing experience to see this whole Celtic, Mithraic religion that appears to have been brought here. And if that's true, then we have a real game changer in this whole history of the North American continent. I'm about to witness what sounds like a spectacular illumination here in the Oklahoma Panhandle that may explain a mysterious bull carving. The alignment is taking place during the autumn equinox, when day and night are of roughly equal length. Not only could this be proof of an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy, but possibly the presence of ancient Celtic travelers in America's heartland, practicing their Egyptian-influenced religion. What I'm hoping to see is the story of Mithraism played out in light and shadow right before our eyes.
Well, Joe, according to the researchers, the Celts carved this site sometime back around 300 to 500 AD. And if that's correct, it changes history in a huge way.
Well, you know, Mithraism was around for centuries. Centuries of time where Celtic tribes would have been influenced by Mithraic mystery religion and Mithraic practices. So, you know, if what you're saying is that you found evidence that is old, and it's showing symbolism of that's 1,500 years old in Mithraic, what other conclusion can we come to but that there are Celtic tribes that were here?
Long before Columbus.
Yeah, definitely long before Columbus.
Hey, Phil. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, it's my friend Joe. He's the expert in Mithraism I told you about, and very interested in seeing the alignment today on the Equinox. And what do you say? Should we get after it?
All right, Scott, let's get on up.
All right, after you. Well, Joe, is there evidence of Mithraism here in your eyes?
It's clear. I mean, it's absolutely clear to me that, I mean, these symbols are so distinct. Here you have this canine figure, possibly Anubis, you know, Anubis, the Egyptian jackal god as he was hunting for the bull. We have the sun. The sun is connected to Mithras. And we have this figure that is clearly a Mithraic style sun god. Right here, we have this deeply etched bull.
I'm starting to see that this bull symbol is really important. We see it as the Apis bull in Egypt, in Mithraism. That bull that Nick found in Tulsa along the same waterway that would lead the people to come here that also has the bull. There's a very good chance that that's part of this whole thing as well. Well, really what we're talking about here is another example of archaeoastronomy. I mean, talking about a geographic spot that is aligned with the heavens. And this is something the ancients have done for thousands of years. Well, Phil, we're only moments away here, so can you tell Joe what's going to happen with the alignment here?
Sure. There'll be a wedge of light between two shadows, and it'll progressively pan up across this panel.
Okay.
And as the lower shadow comes up, there will be a little knob of shadow. This is going to move halfway up the sun god's face, half obscuring his face, and the sun will be half obscured below the horizon. And as the shadow completes obscuring the head, that's the moment that the sun finally dips below the horizon.
Sure.
And the lights go out. You can see the shadow has moved up and is now right underneath the sun god's chin. And that reflects exactly what's happening on the horizon. The sun is touching the horizon.
So it's happening right here. This is incredible.
It's extraordinary. I mean, look at that. It's so clear what I'm seeing here. I mean, it is clear that Mithras, at this time, in the autumn, he is sinking down into darkness. And there is Anubis who's going to be risen above. And Anubis, of course, you know, the jackal-headed god, he was the god of the dead in the underworld. And as he is risen above symbolically right there, he's risen above the sun.
The head of the sun god is almost completely in shadow. Anubis is nearly fully illuminated, and it's already starting to go dark.
That is a really complex alignment.
Someone with a great deal of knowledge and precision has been able to make this map, watching the shadow creep across here. They've laid out their lines, and they've had to have known something very special to have the skill and the knowledge to do this.
This is incredible. Here again, we have a brand new chapter in American history right in front of our eyes.
You know, Phil, your theory that the Celtic tribes that were practicing Mithraic things came here, I mean, this is all just making so much sense now. It's really something.
So let me ask you a question. How does the Egyptian symbolism, Mithraism, and the Celts all connect?
Well, you know, every single one of the people that you mentioned, they revered the sun, the moon, and the stars. They knew that it was their way to keep track of everything that was important to them.
I agree. This site was as important as the Dead Sea Scrolls are to biblical history as this is to Celtic history.
Well, I tell you guys, this has been incredible. We started with the bull in Tulsa, coming out of the Arkansas River. Not far away, we saw Ogham script. And if we follow that trail up the Arkansas to one of its tributaries, it takes us right here. And this incredible story of Mithraism that we just saw play out on the wall, it was amazing. And really, the only reasonable people that could have done this were the Celts, 1,500 years ago. I can't think of any other candidates. And for that reason, this site here should be, I think, designated as a National Historic Site, and it absolutely changes history in a profound way.
My search to uncover the meaning and origins of a 500-pound bull carving strongly suggests ancient Celtic explorers brought their religion to America. Celtic worshippers of Mithraism who entered into their faith through a baptism of blood from a sacrificed bull may very well have made their way to Oklahoma. The stone carving found in Tulsa could hint at their gruesome initiation, trails of blood running from the bull's head and neck. I saw the story of Mithraism play out before my eyes in a spectacular illumination on the autumn equinox, a testament to an advanced understanding of archaeoastronomy. Everything I've learned could mean that America's first pilgrims may actually have been Celtic explorers who left clues behind. It's up to me, and to all of us, to figure out what those clues mean to the history of this country.